into set number 1.
Fight.
All right, guys, we're going to bring into the first match. Our first player in the blue, in the top left-hand corner of Thunderbird LE.
Gosu Crew, Dark.
He's so handsome.
He is. But there's someone handsomer in this game.
Is it possible?
Team Revolution, Bomber.
Are you ready for bombing?
I am so ready for bomb. Oh, man, he's also a very handsome nerd, Tasteless.
Oh, my
Artosis.
God.
I just called you Tasteless.
Well, that's the greatest compliment anyone's ever given me.
I've committed the mortal sin. I've been worried all week that I'm going to call you Tasteless. I got it out of the way at the beginning of the broadcast.
Well, I'm sure I'll call you Tasteless at some point as well. Don't worry.
Would that I
We're
could
just
be
a
so
couple
lucky.
of Tastelesses up here. Seriously.
Oh, goodness gracious. So I gotta say, I got to cast a couple of Bomber's games because he was in the GSL qualifiers on day 2.
Yeah.
So I got to cast one of his matches against True. He went, so interestingly enough, True actually knocked him down to the loser's bracket at the beginning of day 2. He went 0-2 against True, and then came back to face him because True lost his winner's bracket match.
Yeah.
And then Bomber 2-1'd him, so he got his revenge.
Oh, nice.
But one of the most impressive games was game 2 on Thunderbird from the qualifiers, where Bomber and True had about the scrappiest gosh darn game I have ever seen. Those boys, it was one of those great games where the players get tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And Bomber had committed to this biomech style. He had a couple Thors and a lot of Marines on the map, and he was just going for it. Hey, what's up? Some fans out there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. So anyway, in the Thunderbird games that we saw from Bomber in the qualifiers, he was bringing it. But tell me, what is Dark gonna do on this game number 1?
Well, he got pretty quick gas, pretty quick pull here. His speed's going to be finishing up relatively soon, but the Reaper hasn't left this area of the map. It doesn't seem like there's that many lings. It looks like he's grouped up 6 over on the side. And, a lot of times, oh my God, that's a very quick third command there. But
so fast.
These lings come in, the Reaper sees them immediately. Now, he can't let this Reaper die. He has to micro it very carefully.
Absolutely. Letting that Reaper die would be a travesty right now, especially with that command center on the high ground. And now, what is standard here as far as up above here? What is Bomber going to build behind this?
Well, Bomber actually cancels that command center instantly, doesn't feel like he can hold on, and restarts it. But you know what? He already had another command center started in his main base, so I feel like this damage is not as critical as what Dark was hoping it would do.
Is Dark going to get fooled? Is he going to think, haha, I've stopped his command center, and now I've got a massive build order advantage?
It might be, looking at this, he popped up the ramp and saw that the factory was a little bit late, so he might be able to intuit that maybe there's another command center up there, but he did force the cancel. It does slow down the economy a little bit, but I feel like Bomber's actually completely fine. That was an instantaneous reaction.
And we see him committed to this style. As soon as that one on the low ground got canceled, we saw him immediately drop the third command center on the high ground as well. And it looks like he's doing his swap overs, everything you would expect from a pretty standard TVZ so far.
Yeah, and look, I actually even like his placement right there. He kind of uses that barracks as an additional piece of wall just in case. You never know what's going to come up here, but that will kind of inhibit any Baneling rushes or roaches coming up the ramp. So I'm liking what Bomber's shown us so far. But we gotta point out the elephant in the room here, right? Dark got to choose who to play against. The top 2 finishers in GSL always get to choose.
Yes.
So he deems Bomber the weakest player in GSL Codes.
That's gotta hurt. With a player with a pedigree as long as Bomber, it's gotta be a sting just a little bit to say. It's like when you're the weak kid on the playground. Were you ever the weak kid on the playground, Artosis, when they were picking kids for dodgeball and you were the last one left?
Not in dodgeball, but yeah, in other sports. Yeah.
Okay.
I was pretty good at dodgeball. I'm good at running away from things, but
It's a key skill.
this is how my family line has lasted up until me, right? I'm a Starcraft comic guy. I have no other skills.
I was small and weak, but also very slow, which didn't help a whole lot. So, look at this. Bomber feeling confident enough to drop that third CC on the low to expand to his natural here. He's got to feel good about defending it, and I think he's right. We don't see a lot of lings out of the map just yet.
Yeah, Dark is trying to drone up a little bit. He's not put that much into his aggression since the early portions of this game, and now that Bomber has 3 bases sitting here, he's going to be able to produce his SCVs like mad. He's going to have mules dropping all over the place. He's going to be able to power up really hard. And if you remember what Bomber's style really has always been, he is a heavy macro player.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Little Ling run by here. It looks like, oh, he's going to catch one of those Hellions out, but there's going to be plenty here from Bomber to defend against that. Not going to lose any SCVs.
Yeah, he sees what's going on. The Overlord, of course, saw the command center flying over. Bailing this on the way, quite a few Lings being made here as well from Dark. So it seems like Dark is going to put on the aggression here off of just 43 drones.
Unsurprising, I think, if you know anything about Dark's play. This boy not afraid to push out on the map and get something done, and there it is. We saw it coming as soon as the lair came down. Nidus Network on the way. Now keep your eye on the minimap, guys. In the bottom corner there, Dark does have one Overlord who is scouting up on the main base. That's almost certainly where that Nidus is going to go, right?
Oh, yeah, I would say so, 100%. And we'll see if Bomber actually puts anything over there to check. We notice he doesn't really have any walls or anything down at the front. Oh,
catch. That's painful as all get out.
Oh,
He's going to need
is.
every last inch of DPS to defend against this Nidus, and even cleaning up that last Hellion as well.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me.
That's painful when you're playing against Massling. So, you know what? The one thing, like, I like to try to find the silver lining. At least that kind of brings his units back up into his main more, but no vision of this Nidus.
No patrolling Marine, no supply depot on the outside there. This is looking a little bit more dire than it may have initially for Bomber.
Yeah, and look at this. He actually draws all the units down because of this Ling attack. Bomber will clear that, but now all the Queens in his main base with these Lings as well.
Gorgeous. First siege tank will already be set upon by Lings here. That's going to get picked up immediately. Second one has sieged up, and the Queens are on top of it already.
Oh my god, both the tanks being knocked out. The SCVs have been pulled. He has a lot of bio units coming up as well, but with this many Queens and this much damage dealt already, I'm feeling a bit nervous here for Bomber.
It's not looking great. Look at that Queen energy. They've already got one creep tumor out of the main. Second Nidus is out. Bomber hanging on for dear life now. The natural expansion has been almost entirely cleaned out. All those SCVs up in the top, not doing anything. Let's see if Bomber can protect against this. He's got all the SCVs pushing against the Queens here, but there's so much damage from the Queens, Artosis.
Oh my god, and the healing as well. These transfusions keeping them alive for so long. 35 SCVs going down.
Absolutely disgusting.
It's just a matter of time before the GG is typed in.
That bunker on the top ground, maybe Bomber feels a little bit good about that, but with how many Queens is that? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 Queens? You've got to be kidding me.
It's ridiculous. Look at that, even blocks the tank retreat of the Nidus. The style points for Dark here.
Goodness gracious, this is pretty awful.
Oh,
even the Nidus
man.
down at the third base as well, getting picked away. I think Bomber might just be counting a little bit, taking a deep breath, and prepping himself here for game number 2, right?
Dude, yeah. I mean, the game is certainly over. He may as well just chill for a moment and collect himself. But I want him to get out before Dark spells his name with Nidus's, because that's where it gets real embarrassing.
Is that something you've seen Dark do before?
No, not yet, but with the amount of Nidus's he has and the lead he has at the moment, there's always a first time.
No better time than now. We see a ton of Banelings coming in here in the main base. 15 Banelings morphed in your opponent's main base. I don't know if that's offensive or in bad taste, but it's certainly close, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can see the Banelings crashing forward here. Marines trapped in the corner there, and there's the GG from Bomber. Dark is going to take a very quick and very painful game number 1.
Fast and furious. I felt like Bomber's opening was okay. He reacted to the Zergling rush really reasonably well.
He did.
He didn't have any intel on that Nidus coming in, though. Like he pointed out, the Overlord was sitting there for quite some time. Dark was able to just pull the trigger, and if you don't see the Nidus before it pops up, it's very hard to react to.
You're absolutely correct. And now this is a question that I've been wanting to ask you for some time. With Bomber coming back after such a hiatus from Starcraft, is he not going to be prepared for some of these Nidus builds, or is he probably on top of it? Because normally we see players have that scouting Marine patrolling in the top side of the main base, especially on a big map like Thunderbird.
Well, it's certainly something new that's not from his era of StarCraft, but to qualify for the GSL, he's obviously very active with a ladder. If you're playing ladder, you're getting Nidus a certain amount. You know, I feel like he's somewhat ready, but Dark is really the consummate pro here. Yes, Bomber is a player with a rich history, but is he at the level of Dark at the moment? Dark certainly doesn't think so.
I think Dark is a clear favorite today, but there are so many fans out there on the internet and probably in real life too.
Yeah.
Pulling for our boy Bomber here.
Well, we'll see if he can do it. We're going to go into map number 2, New Repugnancy, Dark against Bomber.
All right, guys, here we go. Map number 2 here is New Repugnancy, LE. In the top right-hand corner, in the blue,
Gosu Crew, Dark.
Really putting it to Bomber that game. Oh, my God.
absolutely. And it looks like in the bottom left-hand corner in the red, it is our second player. Oh, I've done it too soon. There it is.
Team Revolution, Bomber.
Attaboy.
Not looking particularly happy.
No, look at that face. Almost a scowl. If you could,
Yeah.
if Bomber ever had emotion, that would be a scowl.
I think so. He's obviously, you get picked by the GSL champion. That's already kind of a little hit to your ego, like you were mentioning before. And then, Dark rushes you, and then does another kind of cheesy maneuver against you. It can't feel good.
Welcome back, Bomber. Oh, man. After 2015 GSL Season 3, has it been that long?
That is a long time. Wow. My God.
That was back when Siege Tank had to be upgraded, wasn't it?
Oh, God.
Maybe not quite that long ago.
To be honest, I don't even remember, but it was a while back. It's been a bit. And, Bomber for I know we're getting new fans for StarCraft 2 all the time. If you don't really know who Bomber is, because we keep talking about him in this kind of revered status, he was one of the very best players in the world at the beginning of the game. It was like, MVP had kind of this other player in the background that everyone's saying, oh, this guy can win, and it was Bomber. And then MMA kind of came up around that time, and they actually formed a little triangle of players that would beat each other quite a bit.
Sure.
So it was like, I believe, if I recall correctly, it was MVP always beat Bomber, who always beat MMA, who always beat MVP.
I think you're correct. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
It was so long ago to try to remember this, but yeah, he was one of the big 3 Terran players back in the day.
Yeah, man, and this is, ooh, look at that, a third already here for Dark.
And he's pushing to get that up before the Reaper denies it.
A good catch. Yeah, I mean, I started following StarCraft back at the beta at the beginning, like I think most of us did here. And look at that link control there from Dark.
Yeah, very nice. The to and fro that we see so often with those Reaper openings.
I think I'm just amazed because it never happens in my games.
Oh, no, I know what you mean. I'm like, I know how this is supposed to look, and
Roach Warren already on the way here. It looks like up in the main base.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a very quick Roach Warren.
That is some aggression right there,
Yeah.
is it not?
No question about it. Like, you do not get it this early for any other reason.
Unscouted.
The Reaper not able to get up as of yet, just kind of chilling out in the front. I wonder what his plan is here with this. Like, is he just gonna make a bunch of roaches and go? I mean, I guess it's a strategy that we've seen Dark do in the past, but is this how little he thinks of Bomber?
Well, 4 roaches on the way. Now, there's no lair yet, so it doesn't look like there's going to be any crazy Nidus play early on for those roaches, which is something we've been seeing increasingly over the course of the year. But, man, 7 roaches under Dark's control at 3.5 minutes into the game. Make it 8.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's
dear.
a lot coming across the map right now. There is a starport out. I mean, he's making a Viking, which will push away the Overlord and everything, but he doesn't have a tech lab on it, I don't believe.
Yeah, so no Banshee to bail him out there.
Yeah, the Banshee is kind of the unit that could really crush this.
A couple Ravagers coming out. Dark already moving out into the middle of the map.
And the Reaper is, like, where is the Reaper?
I think he came back home. I don't see it anywhere on that mini-map.
So if this shows up, and that's the first time he sees it, that's the worst feeling in the whole world.
What are Bomber's odds of holding this?
It's going to do a lot of damage. Like, maybe he does not die right now, but it's going to do a lot of damage. Here he comes. There's no units that really counter this very strongly. Okay, the SCVs get pulled immediately, goes up this ramp.
And a great bile there on the last little conga line of SCVs as they get in there. Does the natural get sacked? Oh man, here it is. Viking already landed. Biles going down here on this army, trying to defend against on the top of the ramp here, but it looks like Dark has his run of the place here. Going to drop down one of the supply depots immediately. That repair not able to get off.
No, this is really tough deal. Look at that, even going after Stim, which is, that's kind of the crux of this build here for Bomber even. He's supply blocked. The Siege Tank only halfway done.
I don't think 21 extra seconds would have saved that Stim, Artosis.
No, not this game, that's for sure.
Real shame.
Oh my gosh, he's getting so much damage done.
Unbelievable. SCV's pulled already from the main to try and defend against this, but Biles going down. What has Dark even lost? A couple roaches, maybe?
Yeah, not very much.
Wow, and it looked okay. So this is going to get pushed away, but still in the natural, still zoning out. Even if Bomber holds this, he's trapped in here, pinned on 2 bases, and Dark is free to do whatever he wants behind this. We see him already droning up, already adding on, going up to that lair tech.
Yeah.
He's got his mid-game plan already in process.
This is terrible for Bomber. Like, Dark is in such fantastic shape. Look at that worker count. 24 against 53. Look at this. He's chasing the army, but he can't even get the Ravagers.
Ouch. 3 Ravagers escape, and wow, Dark going to be laughing all the way back home.
His build was completely destroyed. Like, having that barracks up at the front with the tech lab, having that get knocked out so quickly when he went for... Like, his whole build was getting Stim early. and now everything has been ruined. Dark has controlled this game completely.
Completely gone. Bomber can't even put pressure on the third base, which is something we really commonly see on New Repugnancy. It's really easy to set up the tanks on that high ground, start shelling away on the third base, and drive some bio in underneath. But Bomber has got nothing behind this, just restarting his stim.
I know. It's such a tough situation here.
He's trying to tech behind this. We see a couple reactors getting added onto those barracks back home for Bomber. Gonna go for bio and stim, I guess, but man, I can't imagine him having enough gas to really support this kind of a push with that few SCVs.
No, I'm not sure where you're even supposed to go as Bomber here to try to come back. This is a very tough situation.
And that Scouting Reaper that didn't get the job done at the beginning of the game doesn't get the job done there and pays the iron price. Fourth base coming down now for Dark.
Yeah, and look what Dark's doing here. This is such like a straight up play. The fact that he is going into double evolution chamber, he's just focusing on Roach right now, getting the speed and everything, pushing out his creep spread. It feels like an invincible way to play when you've done this much damage in the early game.
Do you ever play Pokemon, Artosis?
Oh, yes.
Do you ever, when you played like the original Pokemon, did you ever lose your starting Pokemon that was hilariously strong and then realize that the rest of the 5 Pokemon in your party were super low health and they were all just worthless and you just had to watch them all die one after another?
Every time I played against my brother's Mewtwo, yes.
I feel like that's what's happening with Bomber right now. The linchpin of his build now, the number one thing you want to do, that quick stim getting picked off, even this little move out here with only 2 tanks and a handful of bio is not going to be enough to overcome the powerful gym trainer here that we see in Dark.
Yeah, this seems pretty impossible to break through at the moment. I like that he's trying to pressure, that he's trying to be on the map and do something. I can't foresee this actually eliminating this army. Stims for it, he goes after it, but Dark just has too much.
He's got enough corrosive bios there to keep it off, and that creep spread from Dark actually doing a lot of work here, giving him some of that sight lines of the 2 medevacs there. Some nice micro from Bomber. We can see, man, I tell you, once you get that APM up, it's pretty good, but it's not going to be enough, and Bomber is going to fall down. 0-2 in our first match of the night.
Yeah. That's a rough showing right there for Bomber, but of course, this is the champion. This is the second best Zerg in the world right now. I think no one argues with that at the moment. Next to Serral, this is the guy. So, obviously a very strong showing from him. Got to be a little bit embarrassing as Bomber, though, right? You get rushed a couple times and just, it looks like there was nothing he could do to stop either.
I don't know what's going on inside Bomber's head because I'm not a pro gamer and I never have been, but there have got to be some very complex emotions all swirling around right now. Former champion, playing the current champion, a little older, kind of getting back on his feet. That's got to be a tough loss to take.
Well, we'll see how he does in his last match. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, Ragnarok against SOS.